I'm happy to introduce Natalie Martinez, who's part of the 2018 fellowship class. Natalie did her fellowship in the office of Congresswoman Debbie Dingell, and she is now a senior legislative assistant in the House of Representatives. So my first question for you is, how has female leadership inspired you?
When I walk the halls of Capitol Hill and I see the women in Congress, or in the opportunities that WCPI has afforded me to sit amongst the Women's Caucus and see the women take ownership over issues and speak to their colleagues across the aisle, wow, I sometimes have to pinch myself that I get to be next to these women and work for these women.
Yes, I imagine it can kind of be a surreal experience sometimes, definitely. My next question is, how would you describe your fellowship experience in a few words or a phrase?
It was immersive, it was engaging, and extremely educational about teaching a young woman about what it really means to be a Congressional Hill staffer.
Great, thank you. And so my next question is, what skills or opportunities that you received as a fellow do you think were the most useful for the rest of your career?
The most useful skills and opportunities were actually leading legislative initiatives in a congressional office, and automatically working to advance legislative projects. And that's an opportunity that's afforded to few.
Great, and what is a piece of advice you received as a fellow that you have carried throughout your career?
The piece of advice that I received as a fellow was to do your homework. From the beginning, we were quickly taught about legislative procedure and the kind of attention to detail that you have to have in order to be a successful staffer.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. So my next question is, how did your time as a fellow influence your future career?
I never expected to fall in love with working on the Hill. And in the end, almost 3 years later, I'm still there.
Great. And my next question is, what is your fondest memory while working as a fellow on Capitol Hill?
I had a wonderful fellowship experience in my first office. They really let me run with projects, and I owe so much to them for being in the position that I am, to have the confidence to think of an idea, pitch it to the member of Congress and the legislative director, and get it passed into law. I mean, they instilled that confidence in me. So that is my fondest memory of my fellowship time, but also the cohort of women that I was paired with through the fellowship are still friends to this day. They are some of the most wonderful women I've ever met. So creating those lifelong friendships with my cohort and mentorships with the women we're introduced to through the program is unparalleled.
Thank you. It's great to hear that you still have a connection with your cohort and then the mentors you met through the fellowship as well. That's great to hear. So my next question for you is, why do you think opportunities such as the fellowship are so important for young women?
This fellowship is really unique. There aren't a lot of opportunities for women with policy experience, with master's degrees, to gain a foothold on Capitol Hill. I personally was unable to intern when I was in college because it's cost prohibitive to a lot of people. And without these kinds of programs, there are a lot of really qualified women who would not consider public policy, and working on Capitol Hill to be an option for them.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Natalie, for agreeing to share your stories and your time as a fellow and your continuous support of the fellowship. We are so grateful to have you as our featured fellow this month. Thank you.